Hi there, Tim from K-On. Today we're looking at external Molle mounting panels for the Prado 150. Now when you're setting up your vehicle, we're always looking for other options for mounting accessories and bringing the things we want to bring along. Now you might not always have enough space on your roof rack, or you might not want to carry certain things within the vehicle. So these panels give you the options to mount things such as liquids, boxes and containers, recovery gear, tools such as shovels or axes and so forth. Pretty much anything, as long as it's within the extremities of your vehicle. The way the system works is you've got your mounting surface, which is attached to your roof rack. This mounting bracket here takes the load, the vertical load of whatever you're mounting to this surface. So be mindful that that will contribute to your roof rack, your total roof rack loading. The panel is then attached to the exterior of your vehicle with these heavy duty suction cups, and these are there just to stabilize the panel. Compatibility wise, we have a version for channel style platform racks, which include Pioneer 4, 5 and 6, Roller Titan 2 and 3, and Yakima Lock and Load. We also have a version for base rack, which is what you're seeing here. Let's have a closer look at this mounting surface. As you can see, there's lots of holes and cutouts, and they're there for a reason. So for example, we've got holes for MaxTrax mounting pins. These are for the minis. We've got these sections here that are Molle webbing compatible, so you can attach pouches and so forth in these sections. These hole spacings are also compatible with Rotopax mounts, as well as any other sort of mounts for example, your vast mounts. And being that they're holes, quick fists are easy to mount, stalwarts are easy to mount, gives you heaps of flexibility for whatever you want to put on this surface. So these are a high quality, heavy duty 4.5 inch suction cup, and we have two of those holding the mounting panel to the vehicle. They have an alloy housing, stainless steel hardware, as well as an alloy suction pump. Now the way this works is when you pump, it sucks and creates a vacuum underneath the rubber suction cup. There's an indicator line on there to tell you when there is enough or sufficient vacuum. And it is also good because when that line pops out again, that's when you can give it a few more pumps to secure that suction cup back onto the window. Now, even though these are super strong, it's important to know that these are not designed to carry the load of whatever you're mounting to the panel. These are there to stabilize the mounting panel. The load is carried by the roof rack. These panels are made from 4mm powder coated aluminium. They weigh 4 kilos each, including your suction cups. And we're going to offer these individually. So you can buy either a left or a right, because we know depending on your setup, you might have a gullwing on one side, you might have an awning on the other, so you can set it up however you like. What we have here are the main components of the external Molle mounting panels. We've got the main panel, we've got the suction cups that attach this to the window, and we've got the roof rack mounting bracket. And if you've got a base rack, you'll have a clamping bracket as well. Now, while this is off the vehicle, is the best time to attach any accessories onto this panel. It makes it easy because you can access both sides. However, you might find it might be easier to position everything once it's on the vehicle, in which case there's a way to do that as well. Your other consideration is if you've got anything else mounted to your roof rack, for example, awnings or other bracketry, that will dictate how you might mount this to the vehicle. Now, if you've got a fresh install with nothing in the way, we'd attach the top bracket to the main bracket and the suction cups as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. First, check the orientation and that you have the correct bracket for each panel. Now, the way this attaches is the roof rack bracket actually sits underneath the Molle panel, and it gets attached with some M8 bolts. So to make this easy, we're just going to flip it over. Like so. Now these are secured with some M8 button head bolts with a washer. We're going to secure that with a nylock nut. So I'll go ahead and do that first. Get all these attached. And then we'll tighten all that up. Now before I nip this right up, I'll just make sure it's all straight. Happy with that. Tighten these up. Okay, so that's the assembled panel. To install the suction cups, We're going to mount it on the panel in these two positions here, 2 suction cups per panel, and it's where the countersunk holes are. Because the way these attach, we're going to use some M8 countersunk bolts, the old urethane spacer in between, and then the suction cups are attached underneath. Now with these suction cups, we want to leave this protective cover on the suction cups while we're installing, because we want to protect that sealing surface. So I'm going to install that now, just loosely. That's, I find the threaded hole, there you go. And I'll just nip that up, I won't tighten it. The other thing too is you'll notice at the pump, we want the pump to sort of sit towards the outside so we can have access to it to set the vacuum. So drop the countersunk bolt in there, put the urethane washer in underneath, and then on top of the suction cup. Okay. We have our panels assembled, but the first thing we need to do is actually to clean this window and clean it off nice and clean. Clean off this window, because that's what the suction cups need to stick to. Luckily this car's not too dirty. Now we'll grab our panel. We've got the panel. Now 2 things you need to do. Take these protective covers off, because it's not going to stick to the window if you leave those on. And make sure you got the right panel. So these are designed to sort of match the window. So this one looks correct. If it looks off, put it on the other side. Now, we're going to attach it to the top, loosely attach it to the top so that we can do our fine adjustments. So I'm going to grab the bracketry and do that now. This roof rack's a base rack, and the way this is attached is there's a clamping bracket that goes underneath and positions underneath the dovetails. And then we're going to put a bolt through. And I should be able to see what I'm doing there. Grab an M8 bolt and attach it there. So it's 2 bolts there, hold it in position. So we'll just nip that up. There we go. Now there is a little bit of wiggle room, there's some slots in here, so what we'll do now that it's sort of held in, see, we can adjust it, as well as we want to make sure that it's sort of all the way up against the base rack there. And we'll just nip that, and I'll just sight it, make sure everything works. Now that's attached to the top and it's still a bit loose, we can position it, make sure everything lines up and looks nice. Make sure it's clearance to the door, which is good. And when we're happy, we can tighten it all up. So I'll just tighten this one up. For channel style roof racks, the process is much the same, except the hardware is slightly different. So for this Rhino 6 platform rack, we're using switch bolts. So I'll just place those in first and roughly position them to line up. Okay, so I'll put the nuts on there, and then what we'll do is we'll position the panel. So I'm just adjusting the position of this bracket because there's slightly different widths of channel style roof racks. So what we want to do is we want to just make sure the suction cups are positioned parallel to the glass. And we can do that by adjusting the position of the top bracket here. That looks pretty good. Okay. So next thing we want to do is we want to set the suction cups. Now before I do that, I just want to make sure the suction pumps, the pumps are accessible. I'll just rotate those first and then apply a little bit of pressure and then start sucking down the suction cups, and you'll see the rubber actually start to spread and hold onto the glass. And then when the pump on the side no longer sort of comes back out, that means we've got a good amount of vacuum. And the indicator line on the suction cup should disappear. So there you go. Indicator's gone. That plunger is all the way in. So that's held. So I've got both these suction cups held, but I haven't tightened these down yet. Next thing to do is to tighten these. And that is the panel secured to the vehicle. It's going nowhere. Now, if you want to release the suction cup, there's a little bit of a trick to do that. There's these little nubs on the bottom here that give you a bit of leverage to be able to lift the suction cup off the glass, and you'll see it unsuck itself. If you've got an existing awning, there's a few things you might need to consider. For one, if you've got a bracket, awning bracket in this position here, you're going to have to move it. The other thing too is if you've already got an awning in place, you can't just mount this. You'll have to either disconnect this roof rack bracket from the main panel, and hopefully you have enough of a gap in between to feed it through, and then reattach everything. And if that doesn't work, the other thing you might want to try is by undoing maybe the back bracket, and you can slide the Molle panel or the entire assembly in and then reattach that rear bracket. So for example, this is a base rack and we've got an awning bracket here. Now on this configuration here, between the back of the awning and the roof rack, there is enough of a gap to slide this top bracket in if you disconnect it from the front panel, and then you just reattach it once everything's in place. Now, with all the different types of awnings and roof racks out there, you'll have to consider what approach is going to be best for you. In worst case, you'll have to take it all off, install the panel first, and then reinstall your awning. Now that the panel's in place, we can have a think about what we might want to mount to this mounting surface. Now, some people might want to leave it nude because they just like the look of it, but if you are mounting accessories, the things to consider are that in Australia, you're allowed to have projections up to 150 mil past the widest point of your vehicle and within 2.5 meters total width. Now on the 150, we recommend you have everything sit within the outermost line, which is the mirror. So what sort of things can you mount to the panel? Water is a good option. Now these vast tanks, they're nice and narrow, but still hold 18 litres of water. So they fit on there quite nicely with the vast mount. Other types of containers you consider are Rotopax style flat containers, a little bit smaller, but these mount using the Rotopax mounts, of which there's holes to mount those mounts. And you could also mount tools and accessories such as shovels and axes and so forth, and you'd use quick fists or stalwart mounts, in which case you can mount that anywhere you like. So once you've considered what you're going to mount on there, you need to make sure you lay it out and make sure everything sort of functions and looks good. So for example, the vast tank, you need to make sure the door opens. Now that you've figured out what you want to attach to the panel, the other consideration is if you've got anything particularly heavy, we recommend that you attach it over the top of the suction cups. And if you're at that higher end of that load rating, secure it to the panel at the load with the water, with everything attached, before securing the suction cups. That way, we can ensure the load is carried by the roof rack. When using the exterior Molles, it's always good to have some periodic checks to make sure that the suction cups are secure. Now the way to do that is just to have a look to see if that indicator line is showing. If it's showing, just give it a few pumps to reset those suction cups. Now if you're doing some longer trips and rougher trips, it's good to do that as part of your daily checks, especially if you're doing corrugations and rough roads every day. There you have it. We've finished installing the external Molles on the Prado 150. Now you've got some extra options for mounting accessories to your vehicle. If you want some more information, visit the website kayan.com.au.
What do we say?
That's not going anywhere. The Prados are rocking, the suction cups are working. Bugatti.
Is that Bugatti?
Yeah, no. I don't know how to start. You're going to use that, aren't you?